All right. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Longevity Game Podcast, the show where we explore how to live longer, stronger, and better. I hope everybody's having a great holiday season. If you're on the road today, be careful out there. A lot of crazy people on the road, a lot of traffic. And if you're not on the road and you get to keep it pretty chill, like my family, we're keeping it pretty low-key this year. We are actually hanging out at the house. We got a few family members up. It's going to be nice. My son Jacob, he's a Air Force tech sergeant. He lives in Alaska. He will be flying down here in the next few days, which I'm really excited. But anyway, first of all, I want to say Merry Christmas to you and your family, wherever, or whether you're listening while traveling. Maybe you're walking off a holiday meal, or you're maybe you're sneaking in some quiet time. I'm grateful you're here. This episode is going to be a little different. Still science-based, still evidence-driven, but with a year-end and Christmas lens. So cheers to everybody. I have a little eggnog with a little, something in it, for longevity. In this episode, we're going to talk about new longevity science that just came out over the past few weeks, what it means for your mitochondria and energy, also where longevity medicine is heading, and we're introducing a new weekly segment called the Peptide Spotlight. All right, so no hype, no biohacking nonsense, just real science that you can actually use. All right, so, Christmas and longevity, let's get into it. Why this season matters. Christmas is interesting from a longevity perspective, okay? On one hand, it's a time of overeating, poor sleep, stress, alcohol, disrupted routines, but on the other hand, it's one of the most protective seasons for longevity, right? And that key point would be a social connection. Strong social bonds are consistently associated with, lower mortality, better immune function, lower inflammation, and even a reduced dementia risk. All right. So, longevity it's not just about supplements in labs, or peptides. It's about belonging and purpose and meaning. So, guys, don't miss that this season. All right. So, let's get into some fresh longevity science. I'm actually looking for something here. Sometimes. Let's see. Oh, that's why. Hey, all right. So let's get into some fresh some fresh science involving mitochondria and aging. So a new animal study released recently focused on mitochondria and the mitochondria. And I say this all the time. They're so important in longevity. These are basically the energy factories in every cell. And so do you remember whenever we were back in high school, maybe even junior high, and where there's this picture of a cell, and it's like it's a round circular cell, and then a portion is cut out. Do you remember this? I think it was this particular diagram of a cell was probably on the wall of every science class, and it was certainly in a textbook. And I know I've seen it multiple times. And in the drawing or the depiction of what a cell looks like, you see 2 or 3 mitochondria, right? Well, mitochondria are super important, and they were just kind of dumbing down this explanation, this visual explanation of what a cell looks like. There are hundreds, if not more, mitochondria within each cell. All right, and so in this study, the researchers study focused on a mitochondrial protein called COX-7RP, which stands for cytochrome C oxidase subunit 7A related protein. So just COX-7RP. All right, and why this matters? See, COX-7RP plays a structural role in helping mitochondria form respiratory chain supercomplexes. What does that even mean, right? So instead of the electron transport chain complexes that just float around independently, supercomplexes allow them to physically organize together. So think of it like like loose machines in a factory versus an assembly line with parts arranged super efficiently, right? And so that's how these electron transport chain super complexes kind of work, right? So if you think about, like, most people think of mitochondria just like making energy, but not really how they're organized. And how they're organized matters, right? The ETC, or the electron transport chains, consists of complex 1 through 4 and then ATP synthase. ATP is adenosine triphosphate synthase, which is an enzyme to help synthesize ATP. And with these complexes form super complexes, electron transport becomes more efficient, right? And so electron leak is also reduced. Reactive oxygen species, which causes oxidative stress. That production of those things, ROSs, they're also called ROSs. The ROS production decreases, so less oxidative stress. And then ATP output improves. So basically, aging mitochondria tend to lose super complex integrity, leading to inefficiency and oxidative stress. Inefficiency meaning in producing energy, right? ATP, which is the cellular currency for energy. And so what the study actually did is this. Researchers genetically increased COX-7-RP expression in mice. All right. Then they examined mitochondrial structure and function, and then they measured metabolic health markers, and then they tracked the lifespan and the health span indicators. All right. So here's the findings. This is the money part here. Number 1, they found improved mitochondrial efficiency. And so this means there was increased ATP production, cellular energy currency, right? More stable electron flow, reduced electron leak. All right. Second, there was lower oxidative stress, right? So there was decreased mitochondrial reactive oxygen species, or decreased oxidative stress, less cellular damage over time. And this matters because oxidative stress accelerates DNA damage. It accelerates protein misfolding in the DNA. And it also causes cellular senescence, which is aging of cells. And cellular senescence is never good. It causes more oxidative stress, right? Next, they showed that improved metabolic health, which translates into better insulin sensitivity, improved glucose handling, and even healthier lipid metabolism. All right, so this links mitochondrial structure directly to metabolic disease risk. All right. 4, increased lifespan, but this is there's with a caveat, right? Again, this is with mice. There was a approximately 6 to 7% increase in average lifespan, but this part was only observed primarily in male mice. All right. I don't know why. They don't know why. This is obviously not maximal lifespan extension. All right. This is not even yet proven in humans. This is only in mice, right? And they don't know why that it was sex specific. It was only these improved, life extension. This improved lifespan was only specific to the male mice. I mean, it's the mechanism still unclear. And this study supports, though, a really major shift in aging science. Aging is not just damage accumulation; it's declining energy efficiency. And so there was a little bit of extension in their life after they were able to kind of fix the degradation that occurs in mitochondria, And so instead of just antioxidants and calorie restriction, we're moving towards structural mitochondrial optimization, right? Enhancing energy flow, improving resilience under metabolic stress, and that's pretty awesome. And so what I like about that, this kind of goes back to a lot of the peptides that we talk about. And how peptides are just really great. We talked about MOTC and we talked about SS31, mitochondrial peptides. And this study aligns really well with MOTC, which is a mitochondrial signaling peptide. It causes exercise-induced mitochondrial biogenesis, right? It aligns with NAD plus pathways, AMPK activation, hormonal optimization, and that includes testosterone, GH, and even thyroid hormone. All roads in longevity just seem to lead back to mitochondria. you know? And so I think if we get that piece right, we're going to see some big time results, in longevity studies, and so I'm really excited what's going to be coming down the pipe. We're still working on this stuff, and there's lots of studies, there's lots of interest, and I think we're going to continue to see, big things happen in that space. I'll tell you what this study does not prove, and this is a really important distinction, friends. This does not mean that we can extend human lifespan yet, okay? And there's no approved drugs that target the COX-7 RP gene, okay? Also, the mouse lifespan does not equal human lifespan, all right? This study was only done on mice, okay? But it does show us where to look and what systems actually are driving aging. And so it helps us to kind of hone in our focus, right? And so that's pretty cool. And these future implications could be like, if this pathway translates to like humans, future interventions may include mitochondrial targeted peptides, gene expression modulation, maybe exercise mimetics like SLUPP 332, SLUP32, exercise mimetic, or maybe precision metabolic therapies. And this reinforces why exercise, sleep, hormones, nutrition, and recovery are non-negotiable in longevity medicine, right? Aging truly is an energy crisis at the cellular level. And so, what does that mean for humans? Well, honestly, we're seeing a shift in longevity medicine toward mitochondrial optimization, metabolic flexibility, hormone balance, inflammation control, and even recovery and sleep architecture, And so longevity isn't just one pill. It's a system-based medicine, right? And so you're also seeing longevity move into mainstream culture, even into like travel and lifestyle. People are now investing in advanced diagnostics. They're investing in hormone optimization. They're investing in oxygen therapies, and even personalized recovery protocols, right? Longevity has gone from fringe science to really a life strategy. And it's really cool to be in this space right now and just see all this stuff unfold. It's really a cool time to be alive, right? So let's shift gears. We're going to talk about, speaking of mitochondria, we're going to shift to our new segment that we've introduced last episode called the Peptide Spotlight. Okay, so every episode will briefly highlight one peptide, what it is, what it does, and where the science actually stands. Okay, none of this bro stuff you get online. All right, this is the real information found in clinical research. All right, not just other videos of dudes talking about this stuff on YouTube. Okay, this is legit, right? So I've gone over MOTC in the past briefly, but it aligns so well with what we're discussing today that I really thought it was worth getting into. Okay, MOTC is really different. It's encoded by mitochondrial DNA, right? It's derived from the mitochondria, right? And that matters because mitochondria evolved from a bacteria through a process called endosymbiosis, which is far beyond the scope of this of this episode. We're not going to go into that, but they retain their own DNA, right? And they act as stress sensors, not just power plants, right? So MOTC is a signal. It's sent from the mitochondria to the rest of the cell and even to the nucleus, saying, hey, we're under stress. You got to adapt. All right, let's do something about it. So MOTC production increases during metabolic stress. It increases during nutrient scarcity. It increases during exercise, during insulin resistance, and aging. In many ways, MOTC behaves like an exercise mimetic signal. And this is critical because, exercise is one of the most powerful longevity interventions, if not the best. MOTC appears to activate some of those same pathways. Like AMPK, which is, AMPK stands for AMP, activated protein kinase. And so let me explain it's like this. AMPK is like your body's fuel gauge, right? And so when energy is really low, AMPK turns on survival and efficiency mode, right? Kind of like when your battery gets low on your phone. You can switch to low power mode, right? So AMPK activation leads to increased glucose uptake, even in the absence of glucose, right? It's really, really cool. So improved insulin sensitivity, reduced fat accumulation, enhanced mitochondrial biogenesis, and suppression of the excessive mTOR pathway, or mTOR signaling pathway. And mTOR stands for mammalian target of rapamycin, and it's a growth pathway. You don't want that turned on for too long, right? And so AMPK kind of suppresses excessive mTOR signaling. And so basically in longevity science, AMPK is considered a pro-longevity master switch. All right. So here's some metabolic benefits of MOTS-C seen in preclinical studies. So in animal and cellular models, MOTS-C has been associated with improved insulin sensitivity. It provides protection against diet-induced obesity. Also, it enhances skeletal muscle glucose utilization and reduced metabolic inflammation. If you're taking this and you're working out, you're seeing that you recover quickly in between sets, which is awesome. You're going to have a way better workout. All right. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, you can feel it. This is one of those peptides that you can actually feel or see the results actively while you're on it. Right. It makes MOTS-C really, really interesting, particularly in the context of metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes risk, sarcopenic obesity, and then age-related insulin resistance. And so I think one of the most interesting findings of MOTS-C is that levels appear to decline with age, right? And this is very interesting because lower levels are associated with worse metabolic flexibility, higher cardiometabolic risk, and reduced stress intolerance. This is what we see in older populations, right? And so some human observational data has shown higher endogenous MOTS-C correlates with better metabolic health. Certain genetic variants of MOTS-C may be linked to exceptional longevity in specific populations. Okay, now here's an important nuance. All right, these are associations. These are not proof of causation. All right, so again, we have to be very careful about the things that we claim, because we don't want to be like all those bros out there on YouTube or social media, just speculating and talking about things that they may have heard somebody say, and they heard somebody say, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, what was that game that when you were little, you play, there's a whole bunch of people, I tell you a secret, then they're going to tell the same secret, and it just keeps going and keeps going. This happens a lot when people are talking about peptides. All right, so here's why MOTS-C fits the longevity framework. MOTS-C sits at the intersection of mitochondrial health, metabolic efficiency, stress adaptation, and energy sensing. Longevity isn't about staying in comfort. It's about adapting efficiently to stress, right? I mean, that's, stress is really good for the body because it helps us to adapt. If everything was easy, then we wouldn't be able to build up those physical and chemical reactions that help us when we are under stress. So it's nice to have a little bit of stress. All right. MOTS-C really, it's kind of like hormesis, right? MOTS-C represents hormesis at the cellular level, pretty much. If you don't know what hormesis is, it's a biological principle where a low dose of a typically harmful substance or stressor, like iocane powder in the movie The Princess Bride, right? It triggers a beneficial adaptive response, making the organism stronger, while the same agent would become damaging or toxic to someone who's not had it before. So remember, whenever he took the iocane powder, he put it in the drink, and they're going to have a duel of wits, and he put it in both drinks, right? And he drank it, and he didn't die. The other guy took a drink, and he died almost immediately. And so that's hormesis, right? Because he even explained it. He's like, oh yeah, well, I've been, taking small doses of iocane powder every day for years so I could build up a tolerance. And so that's kind of how that happened. Anyway, that's hormesis. So, right now, MOTS-C isn't FDA approved for clinical use. I have to say this. Human trials are very limited. There was a human trial recently that I discussed on the last episode, which was really, really incredible. And if you want to hear more about that, it is really, really good. So check out episode 12 of the Longevity Game podcast, and I'll talk about this recent study of MOTS-C in humans. All right, but beyond that, human trials are limited, and dosing is not standardized, and long-term safety data does not yet exist. All right. Have I used it? Yes. Is it awesome? Yes. All right. But this is an area of scientific interest, not mainstream therapy. Okay. All right. Let's get practical for the holidays. What do you say? Let's discuss some key longevity levers. First lever is sleep. Sleep is so important. It's probably it's disregarded by most or the importance of sleep is disregarded by most people, I think. And wearing this Oura ring probably has made me see, how much sleep can improve your overall physical well-being and just how you feel overall. If you don't have an Oura ring, give it a look. An Oura ring, man, this thing is so amazing. It detects so many different biochemical markers, biological markers, and biometrics that it's really incredible. And they keep adding stuff. So, but it really, you need to protect your sleep like it matters, because it does. Right? Poor sleep for even a few nights can raise your cortisol levels. It worsens insulin resistance, and it can increase inflammation. All right. Next, how about nutrition? You don't need perfection, okay? It's, you don't have to, whenever I'm doing a competitive bodybuilding show, my 4 months up to the show, the diet is on point. I have to be every single thing that I eat, everything that I drink, it's got to be in the regimen. It's got to be a part of my macros. It's got to be a part of my calories. There cannot be anything outside of that. All right. But for the general population, as far as nutrition goes, you don't need perfection. You just need awareness. All right. Protein first, because protein is probably the most impactful and most important macronutrient. Next, hydration. You got to stay hydrated. That's super important. And then don't stack sugar and alcohol. Has anybody ever told you that? Don't stack sugar and alcohol? Let me tell you why. Whenever you drink alcohol and you have something that has sugar in it, your body recognizes alcohol as a toxin. And so it's going to preferentially metabolize alcohol, no matter how long it takes. And anything else that you consume while you're drinking alcohol is going to be stored as fat, right? And so, when you stack sugar and alcohol, it's not a good combination, because your body's just going to store all that sugar as fat. And so don't do that. I'm not saying, we're friends right now. Listen, I'm going to take my clinician hat off. You can drink, you can eat, but don't eat and drink. All right. Because it's going to be stored as fat. If you're trying to lose weight, that's not going to help. Other than that, don't drink alcohol, because it'll raise your blood pressure. It causes all kinds of issues with your liver. It can cause cancer, alcohol-induced cancer. All this stuff. But if you're going to drink, don't mix it with sugar. All right. Lastly, movement. Walk. Walk after your meals. Lift something heavy a couple times a week. Movement is one of the most powerful longevity levers that we got. Sleep, nutrition, movement. Man, those three things, they'll change your life. So do those things. All right. And that's about it, guys. We're going to wrap this up. So, Christmas is a time of coming together. I want to end on something that looks, it's often overlooked. All right. And, in longevity conversations, and it's purpose. All right. People with a strong sense of meaning live longer. They recover faster, and they age better. And so Christmas is a reminder of that connection. Generosity, gratitude, coming together. Friends, those aren't soft ideas. Those are biological signals. All right, guys. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and follow the show. You can follow us across Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, or YouTube. Share it with somebody you care about. Leave a review. It really helps the podcast grow. I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, business inquiries, you'd like to sponsor an episode, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just send us an email. questions or concerns about a topic or a particular episode, hit us up at hello@thelongevitygamepodcast.com. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, email us at beaguest@thelongevitygamepodcast.com. If you're interested in supporting the show or sponsoring the show, email us at sponsors@thelongevitygamepodcast.com. And if you're in Texas and looking for a more personalized, evidence-based approach to health optimization, you can learn more at nextleveltrt.com. From my family to yours, Merry Christmas, stay healthy, stay curious, and keep playing the longevity game. Thank you, everybody. You guys have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Cheers.